February the 14th, bird courting. There is much billing and cooing generally in London today, St. Valentine's Day. By tradition, this is the day when all birds are supposed to find their mate, and certainly there is much extravagant courting behaviour to be seen by males, both human and avian. Wildfowl on our lakes indulge in a whole host of behavioural patterns. There is much head nodding, saluting, pouting, dipping, rearing out of the water, with a lot of unnecessary waving of wings, preening and washing, all designed to catch the eye of a passing female. Mule swans have the most elegant of these displays, during which they are particularly attentive to each other. The cob will chase the pen, then roll from side to side and raise his wings like sails. He then moves around the pen, engaging her with a determined eye, with both birds raising and lowering their heads in unison. There may also be some low snoring and trumpeting, and after copulation, mutual head dipping. Less romantically, Canada geese follow their mates with outstretched heads, honking loudly, and with poshards there is even a certain amount of heavy breathing. More black-headed gulls are sporting their recently acquired chocolate-coloured heads, and some are head flagging. There are still large flocks of gulls, mainly black-headed, resting and feeding on open ground all over London, but especially along the inner Thames. There are also more aerial displays than last month, with birds including raptors seen high in the sky wheeling around each other. Coots are splitting up and aggressively seeking partners, and on land blackbirds are doing the same. Savage territorial disputes can occur, with birds like blackbirds even rolling around on the ground, locked bill to bill. Their fights are often in silence, with no notice being taken by any onlookers. Fighting also commonly occurs between coots, gulls and mute swans. Greenfinches have now commenced their own special display flights. They have been described as bat or butterfly-like, the male exaggerating his normal wing movements and performing them more slowly. The crow marriages of magpies are sometimes seen, where they gather in groups supposedly to pick a mate, 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a wedding and 4 for a boy. In gardens, male wrens are chasing females, quivering their tails at any opportunity, and tree sparrows seem to permanently have a cocked tail. Many birds are now laying down their territories, and it is a good time to determine their boundaries. Robins and blackbirds, unlike most other birds, have been territorial throughout the winter. Male and female robins have separate winter territories, which are usually just half the size of the summer ones. Now he allows her into his territory, fluffs himself up, and parades his red breasts and sings his heart out. Between chases, the great tit proudly shows off his handsome black chest stripe. Male house sparrows are doing the same, but with their newly acquired black cravats. Flocks of finches are breaking up, and now paired birds are beginning to establish their own territories. The touching of bills together, called kissing, as well as mutual preening and offering of food to a partner, are all courting behaviours worth looking out for. Robins and kingfishers both give food offerings, and even herons are known to offer a twig or two. Jays are now in their brightest colours, which they show off while sitting at the tops of trees, raising and lowering their crests to attract even more attention. The complicated series of displays between great crested grebes is among the most famous of all bird courting rituals. The male has now got bright chestnut and grey cheek feathers, which he raises into a handsome ruff. Both male and female perform a series of exotic dances. Mouthfuls of weed are offered, whilst at the same time swaying and paddling furiously. There is a cat display, where the wings are held out as the bird turns away from its mate. Then there is the ghostly penguin dance, which involves one bird suddenly appearing out of the water in front of the other. Sometimes they run past each other on the surface of the water with raised heads. There is also much bowing, crouching, head shaking, croaking, chattering, ticking, and mock preening. In this, one of the most extravagant of all courtship displays. The whole performance is one of the highlights of the month and occurs on many of our larger reservoirs, for example, Queen Mary Reservoir, where the monthly accounts of several hundred great crested grebes has been recorded. It is almost better viewed on smaller patches of water, such as South Norwood Park Lake, where the whole spectacle can be seen just a few feet away. Courting between rooks also involves a lot of ceremonious bowing, with the male occasionally offering the female a choice worm. High in the sky, carrion crows are still windsurfing with lots of sweeping dives, some with their wings flayed out and others with their wings held close to their bodies. These are especially common around London's high-rises. Herons bow to their mates, but also make sure they show off their fine new lavender head feathers as they do so. In the breeding season, their bills are pink. Later, they will change back to yellow. Kingfishers are now noticed more, as they are also looking for their mates. In this case, we just see flashes of sapphire. In the sky, over more open land, around the edges of London, the tumbling and wing-humming display of lapwings can now be seen and heard, whilst below, partridges are strutting in front of females with puffed-out chests, in between scurrying off to brawl with other males. Wood pigeons, instead of hurtling past in straight lines, are now leisurely gliding with V-shaped wings, with the occasional loud wing clap to catch a female's attention. One last display worth seeking out is that of buzzards. They are usually noticed in the greatest numbers on the outskirts of London. Young males are now moving about searching for females. They may climb to 100 or even 200 feet and then circle around each other. A male will then dive past a female, calling loudly. This attracts other suitors, and then perhaps 4 or 5 or even up to 10 birds may get involved in this eye-catching display.